Hello, my friends. Welcome to episode 7 of Backstage Pass. I'm smartening up. What's this say? Something about ads. Just give anyone a moment to log on. If you want to log on for the stream, yeah, episode 7. Always try to do these once a month, but somehow stuff gets in the way. But we'll talk about that in a bit. So I hope this live stream finds you well. Now my studio looks much the same as the last time I did this, but what I have been doing since we last spoke is doing so much work around this house, which we bought last year. So hence not doing so many of these live streams as I wanted to do. But it does mean I've got an absolute load of stuff to talk about and jam into the live stream. And I've got about 30 to 40 minutes to get it all done in. So I'm just going to dive straight in. I know a lot of you guys will tend to watch these live streams later on rather than actually live. I just keep getting notifications from YouTube. So I'm just going to close that. YouTube seems to just be changing every time I do anything like this. The next time I come on to do a live stream, it seems to be about a gazillion times different. Like there's about 10 new options. But there we go. Okay, what should we start off with? There's only one thing I really want to start off with, and that's these bad boys. I'm not going to show you the units because they're in front of me and they're all plugged into the rack. But I pulled the trigger on these two. You may have seen them in some of the content which I've been doing. I'm just checking this mic's okay. Yeah, it looks quite quiet on the feed. But it's quite loud on my interface. Let me just move it a bit closer. Let me just check here if I click that. Oh no, it's just a mute button. Okay, that should be plenty loud enough. Yeah, so the two Klark Teknik boxes, I mean the classic two, they do like a Pultec style EQ as well. There you go. That's what you're going to get when you get them boxed. Now the 2A KT. Why haven't they called it the KT2A? I call it the KT2 in the videos because that makes sense. 2A KT. I mean, was that a legal thing? And the 76 KT76 just makes more sense the other way around to me. But can I put? No, I'm going to put them somewhere in the background. But hey ho. So they're the famous two units. Obviously, copying the 1176, the LA2A. For years, I kind of thought. These are going to be really naff units because they're really cheap. I think I'm right in saying they're owned by Behringer. The only Behringer rack I ever had was one a long time ago, which was like a preamp, not a preamp, sorry, like a channel strip, I guess, with a pre and an EQ, and it had a de-esser on it, had a whole bunch of stuff on it, but none of them did anything. So you'd like, I don't know, it had 15 knobs in it, and you twiddle all those knobs, and nothing would change. That was my only experience with Behringer rack gear. So I was a little bit kind of like, I'm going to drop some bucks on one of these. Is it going to be the same thing? I mean, there's not many knobs on it. Is it going to be the same thing? I did the sort of the YouTube thing where just checking this camera that it's not kind of hunting too much. Lots of different webcams I've been trying out. Yeah, I did the YouTube thing of checking out loads and loads of videos and kind of came to the conclusion that it's worth giving them a try. I mean, in that price point for these racks, you've really got Warm. You've got these and one other brand I can't remember. So you kind of got three, but it's really the Warm and the Klark Tekniks, which are the ones which most, I think a lot of home studio owners are going to go for. And then beyond that price, you've got a few other options which are going like 1,000 plus and getting into some pretty serious dollar. So for most home studio owners, when you're covering all of those costs yourself, I think they're a very tempting option. The 76. Now, I don't know whether they're going to hold at this price because at the moment you can't get hold of new 1176 in the UK. They have popped up a couple of times, but they are like hen's teeth at the moment. I actually got that one secondhand from CEX, but there is a shipment apparently coming in the next few weeks. and they're currently priced, I think, at 139 quid, which is like bonkers cheap. That's a sort of alarm bells. Is this going to be absolutely rubbish cheap? The 2A was coming on more like £300. I think it was about 280 quid or something like that. Still very, very reasonable. Um, and without getting over technical into them, I think they're great. I was really, really pleased straight off the bat, even before I plugged them in, at just the sort of the quality on the front of the thing, the knobs and the switches and everything doesn't feel cheap at all. Certainly doesn't feel like a unit that's cost 140 quid. I was hoping with the 76 that, the ratio buttons weren't all going to pop out and, that kind of stuff. But all that kind of stuff that you see at the front of the unit is above and beyond what I was expecting. Doesn't feel like a cheap unit at all. So I can see why they're really popular. But of course, the important bit is, what are they like when you plug them in? I've done a few videos where I'm A/Bing them and with plugins, and I think that it's a pretty close run thing against, say, the UAD plugins, which are, well, certainly now the LA2A is free. I mean, that's pretty competitive. But I think they edge it for sure. There's just something about them which is more pleasant than using a digital plugin. But if you were starting out, wouldn't necessarily be something that I think, oh, you just need to rush out and get these. I think it would complicate the issue. I think it's really good to sort of practice, if you like, with plugins and get to know how these particular two compressors work. But if you're looking to also track with units like this, which was my first sort of the main reason for me wanting to get these two units, particularly with vocals, but also with bass guitar, and just have a better setup going into the box. So ultimately, I can use less plugins and have to do less in mixing and get a better result recording in. I think these are great. I'm really happy with them. I've tracked some vocals with them, I've tracked some bass with them, and I've also started mixing with them as well. Now, when I've had a couple of client mixes that have come through, I've then just gone through them to mix. I think I did the kick, the bass, and I think the vocal and the snare all through this setup, which is Pro Channel 2, my preamp, 76 through to the two-way, and then back in. And I'm really pleased. I'm really, really pleased. So great value units, I think. I hadn't done a big review video. I think there's plenty of review videos out there, but I might do some. I'm sure I'll continue to use them in my content. So, if you're thinking about going more into hardware, I would say, don't just disregard the Klark Technics from a sort of snobby point of view. There's a fair few videos out there of people just saying these are just, rubbish. Avoid the electronics in them are just rubbish and stuff. And look, I'm sure they're very different compared to what goes into an LA2A or obviously the higher grade equipment, but I'm really happy with them and they do what I wanted them to do. So I'm not going to get too gear snobby about them. And for all the research I did, it does seem also that no LA2A, no 11is76, no piece of analog hardware are necessarily the same anyway. So I think there is quite a lot of gravy about people having sort of golden units that just really sound great, and people may be having different experiences with the hardware, and some people saying, oh, these are rubbish. I know there was one guy online who, for instance, who I think had reviewed so the 2A or the 76, the Klark Teknik, and they just said it's distorted no matter what I do with it, and had reviewed a faulty item. So it's kind of like, it's a bit of a minefield, even when you're on YouTube trying to work out whether a piece of hardware or any bit of gear is any good. What I can tell you which is why I like doing these live streams, from a completely unpresented, unscripted video, if you like, is that I bought these in good faith for, a very reasonable amount of money, and I'm super happy with them. I'm really, really happy with them, and I'm going to have plenty of years running through them and working with them, and stuff is sounding great, and I love the workflow. So that's my kind of thing on Klark Teknik. Also, I think it's, it's always good when I've dropped cash on it as well. I bought these. These haven't been sent in or anything. It was just something I was meaning to do for a long time. I also had the rack space, which anyone will know in a studio. If you've got some racks and there's empty rack space, that's just, it's got to be filled. It's got to be filled. So, yeah, really nice. Really love this setup. And, for my Art Pro channel too was secondhand. Actually traded that. So technically didn't have to pay anything for that. And these two compressors together under 500 quid. So certainly you could pick these art channel strips up for around 200 or 300 quid. So for all the hardware to run through, that's a hardware setup of a channel strip, tube channel strip, 1176, and an LA2A for under £1,000. That's pretty cool, and it does sound really good. So that's my contribution to the Klark Techniques. Let's move on. Just going to talk about a couple of things that have come my way in the last sort of couple of months before I did the last live stream. Any piano players out there? Rhodes dropped me a bunch of stuff which I'd used earlier in the year. Their electric pianos, or their Rhodes stuff, obviously. They released piano pianology. They released that. This has got to be a couple of months ago, and it's absolutely superb. I've been using it for a while, just writing, and I'll get onto all about that in a bit. But it's a really, really nice sounding piano. You would expect that from Rhodes. And I was surprised at the price because it's around 100 quid, which is very, very reasonable for a really top-notch piano sounding plug-in. I've got the Addictive keys, which is pretty good. I find with the Addictive keys, it's pretty usable, particularly the upright, whereas the pianology is said much better than is a grand, and it does the soft intimate grand very well. I have the Spitfire intimate grand series as well, and I find myself using the Rhodes pianology a fair bit more than that, or I found myself using it. It's very, very responsive, and it's just one of those plugins that make you feel, make you want to play. Which takes me very smoothly onto the UAD guitar amps. I can't remember, in the last live stream or two, I might have talked about I was really in the market and looking into more guitar amps. I tried quite a lot of Sims. Wasn't I was kind of There's lots of really good Sims out there, but not that many Sims which make me go, wow. This is how I remember when I was a kid. I had a JMP 1981 valve head, which happened to come my way, and a Tweed 4x12 with Celestians. Typical kind of 90s experience of like overkill of amps and speakers for the quality of gigs we were doing. But I had that, and I had a Gordon Smith guitar, so like a Les Paul. And it just sounded sensational. And I think ever since then, I've been trying to get back to that. In terms of how something feels, I used Scuffum amps for years, but with going onto the M chip, I was going to have to drop more money on Scuffum amps. And I never, whilst it's really good, again, I never was a 100% all in. So UAD dropped one of their Fender style amps for free around Christmas time. Now that's available in their free bundle. If you haven't grabbed that free bundle, you're probably mad, because it's brilliant. You get their LA2A, you get a guitar amp, you get I think their one knob preamp, which sounds excellent. So that's well worth going to grab. But yeah, I was quite impressed with their giveaway of their guitar amp. So I trialed out, and you can trial all their guitar amps for 2 weeks, 14-day trial. And particularly the AC30 was the one, and they do a Fender amp as well I was interested in. The AC30 covers my kind of style and like. and sound. 2 weeks with it, which is really fair as a trial. And after that 2 weeks, I was kind of like, okay. And they're doing deals all the time. They've sort of become a bit like Waves with their strategy. It seems they're always doing 2, 3 plugins for like 50 quid, that kind of thing. And I think I picked up 2 or 3 of them for around $40 or $50, which is really fair. And I really, really like these amps. If you're a guitarist looking for a really usable and an amp that feels good, that's really important, that feel, because some of them I find with you can feel a bit disconnected. I'd strongly recommend them. It's really nice actually going through the hardware here as well, just running through the LA2A just a little bit, just tickling the needle, and then going into these amps. It's a really nice setup. If you want to know any more about that, just drop me a comment. Let me know. Yeah, strongly I'm recommending a lot of things in this video, but I've been trying so much stuff out. But yeah, Pianology, great for piano. UAD amps. I think they do like a I think it's called like Dream. Is it Paradise Guitar? Might be that. I think that's like a subscription where you can have access to all of their amps. I'm not quite sure how it all works, but yeah, they've really nailed the guitar amps over there. I mean, I was looking for an amp for a while as a real amp to go into, and this is just completely going through some of the tube hardware and then going into that's completely changed the way I'm thinking. So that's how good their plugins are. That takes me on to Plugin Alliance AB plugin. This has been out for a long time, but I just started using it recently. It's got to be, I think, the most. These are just things which I haven't necessarily got around to making videos on, but I just want to tell you guys, about it. Their AB plugin is the most useful, boring plugin ever. And essentially, I think it must have come out about a decade ago, and it just enables you to AB within the DAW. So you can load up 10 songs, and you could AB and see. So you get about 4 different graphics as well as to what's going on in each song. It's very easy to see if there's any big issues, big differences in bass, and kind of get a feel of the low mids and all the useful stuff. You don't want to get too bogged down in that and start sort of trying to match stuff, certainly visually. But it's really, really handy for ABing. If you don't have, like I didn't have an effective way of doing that, I'd often try and do it in little windows and then playing it back in a separate player. Or dropping it down into the track, and everything was a bit clunky. This is a really smooth, easy way to AB. If you like referencing, I do a lot of referencing when I'm mixing. Then that's a great plugin to grab. And got a few other things from Plugin Alliance which I've sent in. Again, some more amps which I haven't even tried out yet, which I'll be sticking into videos very soon. How are we doing? Okay. I'm going to do a shout out to Berman Guitars. Nick over at Berman Guitar kindly lent me his guitar for a few months, which was super cool. He's doing some really. I've been doing some more guitar videos, and he's been doing some really cool stuff. He's an independent luthier, and I think I included the guitar. I did one. Been doing shorts on iconic tones, which has been really fun, and seeing. Trying to work out quick ways for people to create or get close to kind of iconic tones. It's really fun to research and work out how to do it with modern gear and not using the classic amps. And most of the time they turn out pretty well. I use this guitar on a Green Day one. It's a classic. It's called the Solar, his guitar. It's a 1P90. Sort of rock and roll guitar, and it sounded really killer. So if you're into custom made guitars in the UK, check out Berman. The other plugin that's on the list is Chakra from Styx Audio. I'm going to do some content on that. That's a really cool plugin. Its kind of thing is you can put it on just about everything. It sounds good, and it does. It's like one of those harmonic compression, intelligent plugins that just sort of seems to fatten things out, adds stuff to the low end, which is good, to the low mids, and just makes things fatter. I tried it out. My kind of thing with it is I tried it out on a couple of tracks which just needed thickening. Whether I think one was a vocal, one was a guitar line, and it worked incredibly well. And I think this plugin, Chakra from Styx Audio, works that way for like if you're new to mixing. I think it is a plugin which you could just put on just about everything and go, would it sound better? But if you've been doing it a long time, you'll know you sometimes have those points in a mix where you just go, this just isn't just quite there, and I don't really know why. A lot of the time for me, it's fattening guitar. Sometimes it's fattening a vocal. Um, and you'll try a lot of things and just go, well, I don't know. I don't know what plugin really is going to do this. Or you try all the usual tricks and nothing works. It's one of those plugins you think, I'm going to just put Chakra on this, turn the dial and go, that's actually done it. It's one of those. So I'm looking forward to doing a bit of content with those guys. And if there's anything that you guys want to talk about, let me know in the comments box below. Even if it's after, I'm aware I'm doing this live stream on a very hot Wednesday morning. To be honest, just grabbing a little bit of time whilst I've got it. But I was going to say, if you're watching this and it's not live, still comment below. I'll get back to you. I save all these live streams as well, so you can catch up with them later if you so wish to. And it's nice for me to do these, as I said, in the stream, because sometimes when you're making content, you're obviously trying to make it that it's very presented and easily digestible. But with these live streams, you kind of get a bit more kind of casual chat about them. So I was going to say it's not necessarily like honest, but like I can talk a bit more freely than when you're making a video. If I rambled like this in a video, I'm not sure many people would watch it. Okay. That's kind of leads me on to at the moment with making time to make a record. So that's in the title, making an album at 48. Which is something that I wanted to do at the start of this year. I've done a couple of records, but the last one was about 10 years ago, when I've kind of felt, I suppose, a bit more like a relevant artist. 10 years have passed. I'm not 38, I'm 48. I'm a well-seasoned dad and husband, and have all those grown-up responsibilities. And at the moment, we're doing what was doing up a house has turned into renovating a house. So when I'm not up here most of the time, at the moment, I've got a big mask on and I'm sanding floorboards or pulling floorboards up or renovating the boards and pulling things down and plumbing and all sorts of stuff, just really renovating a house. So that takes up a lot of time, and all the other stuff, which you kind of pick up in life to do. It's not quite the same as it was 10, certainly not the same as it was 20 years ago, where I could be completely self-absorbed in making a record. I'm not sure whether that's better or worse. It's just different because it means you just have to really make use of your time. If you've got half an hour free, you're like, okay, I need to sit down and maybe track this or get one thing down. It's much more like that. I'm going to get a guitar line down and I'll come back to that. Well, I always think I'll come back to that tomorrow, end up then coming back to it in, 10 days and go, oh yeah, I did that. It's much more like that. The other thing that's different, and I don't think that's necessarily just because of age, is working out what the point of doing it is. Because, as you get older, it kind of making a record's less and less important. And to be fair, to be completely honest, no one's really waiting on the album or thinking, "Oh, can't wait for Johnny to drop an album." You know, my a lot more of my creativity goes into being a content creator, and that's great. I really enjoy that, and obviously I've built this up. Whereas my writing career, my recording career, I haven't really touched in a decade. So it has to be something else. And one thing was that I always wanted to make a vinyl a pressed album to actually have. I've got a couple of CDs knocking around of what I did before. In fact, there in the middle, just next to the Mind Your Head sign, that's the cover of Snakes and Ladders, which is the last record I did, which is over 10 years ago on CD. And I used to sell those when I was at like gigs or if I would go out busking and things like that. But this is really for me and maybe a couple of friends I know who'd appreciate a record to just make something that's tangible and real and something to say, I did this. That's what I'm about. I mean, I listen to records. My family, we all listen to records. So it's kind of nice to have something that I can put on that's me. Um, but it's also, I am actually also really enjoying it. It's really nice to make it with no time pressure because I've just only finished the second track and I've been kind of mucking around with this for it's got to be 6 months. That's really slow. I'm hoping to pick that up a bit this year. Just starting the third track. I'd love to do eight, somewhere between 8 and 10. So we'll see. Um, but yeah, I think the point has to come from within. Um, and that means like a complete drop of the ego. It can't be for any other reason other than that you enjoy it and it makes you feel good, which is actually a really, really great place to make any record from. But I think a lot of the time in the past, it's been either just have something to sell, to send to radio, to promote, to even just to I don't know, even for the ego to say, look what I can do. This time around, it's very much feels like something that I want to do for myself. So I think it's a great place to come from, but it definitely asks something else of you because you could spend that time doing anything you like. You know, I could sit for my hour instead and go and play, on a PlayStation or something and just relax. So yeah, it's choosing to do it, but it has been 10 years. There's been a 10-year gap. That's quite hefty for me to kind of get around to do it again. So if you're in that same boat, I don't know. If you're younger, does that because of how things have changed, do you feel quite similar if you're watching this and you're 20 or even 30 years younger and you're making music to put out because of how things have changed, because of AI, because of how saturated everything is, how like it's such a challenge to get stuff out. Does that does that mean that you have to search a bit deeper to find the reason why to create, why to make an album, why to do something anymore? Because it's definitely very, very different to what it was in the 90s in terms of being a recording artist and getting music out there. I don't know how different that is now, how that feels, or whether the fire just kind of slowly is a bit less intense as you get older or changes. So yeah, let me know. Let me know. Also, let me know if you're my age, if you're older than my age and you're still making music. I know some of you guys have responded on videos and said, "Look, I'm 60, I'm 65, I'm 70, I'm making a record, I'm still doing it." And I think that's absolutely superb. Why not? Really, the joy of this is recording is it's ageless. You can make music at any age. It's not like having a football career. So, I think that's just about covered it. I am in on good time, which is great. If you're interested in any of the things which I've mentioned in this video, any of the plugins, that was Pianology by Rhodes. It was the UAD amps. Have you tried them out? What are your thoughts on them? Plugin Alliance, the AB plugin, which I think is super duper cool. The new Chakra plugin from Styx Audio. That's well worth going to just if you want something that's going to make everything sound better, go and give it a go. It's very cool, very cool. Um, do you have hardware? I talked about the Klark Tekniks quite a lot at the start of this video. Do you have any Klark Teknik stuff? Have you tried out their Pultec EQ? I see more mixed reviews about that than I do on the compressors. Have you tried any of them out? What are your thoughts on them? Do you hate them? Let me know in the comments box below. Um, I think that's it for the live stream. That was, I think it was episode 7. So, I hope I didn't rush through it too quickly. It's been a quiet one on the live stream, but as I say, you're more than welcome to drop comments below afterwards at your own leisure, and I'll get back to you there. In the meantime, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching this, and have yourself a great day.